Hello, everybody. My name's Richard Watson, and this is Anglais the Easy Way. Today, let's fix just one thing. Let's fix the past simple. That really, truly simple past simple. First of all, I'm going to tell you a story just like your mother probably did. And if your mother didn't, well, then just like your mother probably should have. So here's a very short story. Pierre, yeah, that's a name. For people who are not French, that's actually a word. Pierre arrived in London last Friday. The sky was grey, and when he left the airport, it immediately started raining. Perfect, he thought. He took a black cab to his hotel and paid far too much. The hotel was quaint and had lots of flowery, pinkish cushions and wallpaper. He left his hotel and walked for hours. He saw Big Ben, took a selfie, and then needed a real English lunch. He found a pub that looked authentic. He went inside and bravely ordered a steak and kidney pie. The waitress smiled and brought him a small grey lump of something. Pierre poked at it with his fork. He hit something solid. He ate one bite, chewed for a very long time, and then decided he preferred cheese. He drank a warm flat beer, and because he wanted to remind himself of France, he sat down on a park bench and felt deeply philosophical about life. On his last day, he bought a coffee from a trendy cafe. The cup was enormous. He paid £6 for it. He drank the whole thing and felt absolutely nothing. He didn't feel a burst of energy. His heart didn't sing in the wondrous way that it did back in his dear France. He flew home that evening, and he told his friends that London was a strange and wonderful place, and that all the rumors about London were true. So first of all, I'll apologize for the lack of creativity in that story, but that's not the point. That was full of past simples. That's all we used in that text. So the past simple is easy. That's what I hope you can walk away from this episode with. The past simple is easy. And you're lucky. It's easier than you think. So, the past simple is much easier than any past tense in French. There's no passé composé versus imparfait, none of that confusion here. One form for everyone. In English, the past simple is the same for every person. I worked, you worked, he worked, she worked, we worked, they worked. It never changes. The goal of this tense is simple. We use it for actions that are completely finished, and especially when you have a finished time reference. Say it out loud. Get some confidence going. Repeat the sentence. The past simple really is easy in English. Forget the stress of trying to think of irregular verbs and all that. Firstly, there are not so many of them. Almost all verbs in English are regular. So regular verbs, it's the easy one. You just put ed. For example, work becomes worked. Play becomes played. Watch becomes watched. Okay? And then you have some irregular verbs. Yeah, you probably learnt them at school, right? It's the second column when you learn your verbs. Go, went, gone. It's your second column, went. So go, went, gone, see, saw, seen, second column. So the target is clear. For the past simple, you only need that second word. Went is the past simple. Saw is the past simple. What about the verb have? Well, I had is the past simple. It's not that hard. You already know the first column, so you just need the second one. So let's have a quick practice. Eat, ate, eaten. Yep. Second one. The past simple is ate. Take, took, taken. Yep. The past simple is took. And a horrible one to pronounce for French people. Buy, bought, bought. Yep. The past simple is bought. So you've done all the hard work now. There's just one thing to remember. You need a finished time reference. If you want to use the past simple and never make a mistake, give it a finished time reference. What does that mean? Well, something completely finished. For example, is yesterday finished? Yeah, of course it is. So we say, yesterday I went to the pub. Don't have to think about anything else. You don't need I am go, I have gone, nothing. Yesterday I went to the pub. Is last week finished? Yep. It's not this week. So we say last week I had a terrible week. Is last year finished? Of course it is. So we say last year I traveled to Spain for my holidays. And is in 1999 finished? Yeah, of course it is. So I bought my first car in 1999. And I'll give you one more. When I was a child. Is that finished? Of course it is. You said when I was a child. When I was a child, I had a red bicycle. I know what you're thinking. What about if you're still a child? Well, first of all, you should be asking your parents if you can listen to this. That's the first thing. Second thing, if you're a child, you should say, I am a child and I have a red bicycle. You're in the present. Okay? So this is why the past simple is your friend. If the time reference is finished, the choice is simple. It's always the past simple, which is the second column. And if you want to make a negative, use didn't. I didn't go. I didn't think, right? Because did is the second column of do, did, done, right? So questions are negative, just use did, except for the verb to be. That's it. Now you have a complete system. The English past simple is not a mystery. It's a logical tool for talking about the finished past. So I'm trusting you with this important knowledge because I know you'll use it carefully. Have fun, and I'll catch you next time. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.